verse number 12. Koham kathamidam jātam.
Koham kathamidam jātam.
Ko vai kartasya vidyate.
Ko vai kartasya vidyate.
Upādānam kimastīha.
Upādānam kimastīha.
Vicāra swayam īdṛśaḥ.
Vicāra swayam īdṛśaḥ.
Nāham bhūtagano deha.
Nāham bhūtagano deho.
Deha. Nāham chākṣaganasthatha.
Nāham chākṣaganasthatha.
Etat vilakṣanah kaśchite.
Etat vilakṣinah kaśchit.
Vicāra soyam īdṛśaḥ.
Vicāra soyam īdṛśaḥ.
Ajñāna prabhavam sarvam.
Ajñāna prabhavam sarvam.
Jnānena pravilīyate.
Jnānena pravilīyate.
Sankalpo vividha karta.
Sankalpo vividha karta.
Vicāra soyam īdṛśaḥ.
Vicāra soyam īdṛśaḥ.
As we have been discussing, the Acharya talks few points, starting with Jiva Swarupaha, Jagat Swarupaha, then Jagatasya Karana as upādāna Karana, then in the last verse Nimitta Karana. So these are the 4 points that we have been seeing it. When we discussed that Ishvaraha being Nimitta Karana, efficient cause of this creation, but he is not a Karta. So that was the main point we arrived at. Because when I create something, a potter when creates a pot, a weaver when creates a cloth, or a goldsmith creates some gold ornament, there the person is a karta, is a doer. Whereas Ishvaraha, even though creates, is not a karta. That's why we say akarta iti. So he becomes an instrument, and the karma of the jiva makes everything to happen. So the creation that happens in keeping with karma. And when karma put together jiva's karma, that's why we discussed yesterday. So when did it start? Because it is anadi, beginningless. So there is no beginning at all. So before this srishti, there was another srishti. That's why we use this word, that vivartanavada. So it just keeps changing from one form to another form. And in fact, that this srishti or the karma is anadi. That is called aparokshanubhuti. So this is another point to be remembered. However, so while discussing this thing very nicely, we have been seeing this from verse number now 12 onwards, this vicāra. So 2 more verses, let us continue so that it becomes easier. Etayor duppa, sorry. Etayor upādānam ekaṁ.
Etayoho upādānam ekaṁ.
Sūkṣmaṁ avyayam.
Sūkṣmaṁ avyayam.
Yathaiva ghaṭādīnāṁ.
Yathaiva ghaṭādīnāṁ.
Vicāra soyam īdṛśaḥ.
Vicāra soyam īdṛśaḥ.
Yatayoho yat upādānam ekaṁ sūkṣmaṁ sat avyayam iti. Now, these are the technical points also you need to understand. After discussing upādāna karana, first it started with upādāna karana, then it came to nimitta karana. Then in this verse again he is bringing to upādāna karana. So what is the purpose of bringing again upādāna karana? So he says, look, if you observe, yathaiva ghaṭādīnāṁ upādānam mrut bhavati. So if you look at that, any product like says ghaṭādīnāṁ, ghata adi, say pot or house, any karyam, any product that we see, so it must have material. And interestingly, there can be many material put together, need not be one. So if we look at especially that pot, predominantly clay, also we need some water. If we look at also any golden ornament, predominantly gold, also there should be some copper and other things, or else it will not stand. That's why this 24 carats, 22 carats, 18 carats, you understand how this carats is being measured. So that means any karya must have karanam, that too upādāna karanam. Is it clear? And this upādānam can be many. So here he says, look, I would like to talk something little differently. That's why he brought this topic. He says, look, tatha eva, so also, etayoho yat upādānam tat ekaṁ sūkṣmaṁ avyayam sat iti sah ayam īdṛśaḥ vicāra iti. So that means as you look at ghata adi, pot, etc., has its material cause, so also both ajñānam and sankalpa. Okay? Because earlier it was being discussed both ajñānam and sankalpa. So both, remember, has also its one upādānam. And this is called ekah iti. There is no two at all. Ekaṁ. And again, which is sūkṣmaṁ. Very subtle, avyayam. And what sort of sūkṣmatvam is here? Avyayam, vyārahitam. It never goes through any change. And sat, the existence. Now, moment he uses this word avyaya, that which does not go through the change, now don't you think it is creating contradiction? So what is that contradiction? So the contradiction is, from milk, yogurt is created or not? So this yogurt is a karya, product. So what is the karana? Milk. Now, milk to become yogurt has to go through change. So that is a parināma. Parināmavāda, okay? So I am little bit bringing different topic, okay? So without going through the change, the cause cannot become the product. Whereas he is talking about vivarta upādāna karanam. So when he says vivarta upādāna karanam, means Ishvara is not like you go through the changes. So he got bored, so 7 days he wants to take a break, okay? So it's not like that. In fact, yesterday I can tell also. So yesterday we took break, so I was not okay, to be very honest. So they had some special pakoda, okay? Those who know about the efficacy of special pakoda, okay? So some special pakada last night we had, okay, evening. So mind was not okay, to be very honest. And I was watching everybody, the fun, okay. Let us not get into. Now, when we look at this vivarta upādāna karanam, so that means the material, without going through any change, it produces, again it will come back to its own form. Especially if you look at you to create the dream world. Do you go through any change? So other go through change, okay, not you, okay? And all your dream world is manifested, is created by you without you going through any change. Again, when you come back, when you wake up, is there any change? There is no change at all. So in short, Ishvaraha is upādāna karanam, but it is vivarta upādāna karanam. It's another technical word, okay? So you cannot say only material cause, okay? Then there is a big problem, okay? Now, when he says it is vivarta upādāna karanam, means Ishvaraha without going through any change, it creates. And what are these? Ajñānam sankalpa. So when we look at in individual level ajñānam, our ajñānam creates all confusion. Our ignorance creates all sort of confusion. So especially when you create confusion, do you go through any change? You make others to change, okay? You don't change, nothing happens to you. And later on, when you somehow resolve your ajñānam, again any change? Nothing happens, okay? Don't worry. So this is both positive way and negative way, okay? Now, here is being talked individual level ajñānam, total level maya. Maya that exists with borrowed consciousness. And he says, look, it is the consciousness that is avyayam, that which does not go through any change. How? It is like light. The light is one. But the light falls on many objects. So the lighted object are many. Because if you look at including the moonlight, is it light or is it lighted object? So it is not light. So moonlight, that appears as different to us. But in reality, it is the sunlight. It is the light. Reflected on, let us say falls on moon, then that is being reflected. After all, it is one light. So that means light is one, but lighted objects can be many. So also, the Atma, the Brahman, is one and same. But because of Maya, it appears as though many. But in reality, there is no many. Why? That's why we bring this called Nama Rupa. So the whole existence is based on Nama Rupa. Nama means name, Rupa means form. If you observe, now you call this as a specks. Now really, in reality, is there anything called specks other than nama and rupa? Other than name and form, is there really something called as specks? If you say, yes, there is something space, now I will break it. Remove this thing. Is there anything space? Forget about that. Best example is what you call as your house, especially those who are staying in apartment, okay? So where is your house? So your floor is somebody's roof. And your roof is somebody's floor. Your wall is somebody's wall. Now tell me, what is yours in your apartment? Is there anything called yours? I don't see. That's why every house will have a stick, you know, if the lady, especially with high heels, if they walk, tuck, 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 sound, so you hit. So how you can understand the painful situation? Now, in reality, what you call as house, it is a name based on a form. That you call as studio apartment, you call as this apartment, a villa, this, that, based on the rupam, you give a namam. That's why, culturally, first rupam comes, form. Then nama is given. Even if when a child is born, we don't decide a name before. Technically, it's not allowed. Only the child is supposed to be born. Nowadays, what a system. So you have to give a name to discharge, okay? I mean, what a funny idea. Because jiva has to be born, then for a transaction's sake, we give a name later on. Not the child comes with a name. So nowadays what happened? When a child comes with a name, now will that child have confusion or not? Has to have confusion. And moreover, if you come with a name, then after you die, you want to make sure your rupam to continue, your body to continue. Nowadays new technology has come. So you don't have to put your loved or beloved one's body in the coffin. So you can keep in your drawing table as the body is transparent, visible to you. So every day you can see, okay? So nowadays I saw some videos and very interesting, looks nice. Okay? Looks nice from a distance, okay? So the body, the form makes you continue. That's why you want to exist in some form or other after your death. So if nothing happens, you want to exist, you want to continue through your children, through something or other. Just see how the mind functions. So here he highlights that, look, the world that we see, in reality, there is nothing called world. It is just nama rupa. The Brahman being vivarta upādāna karana does not go through any change without going through any change. As though there is a change, creation happens. Like you create your dream world without going through any change. And he says, look, this is something sūkṣmaṁ. Why it is sūkṣmaṁ? Because indriya agocharam iti. That means it is not available for the sense perceptions. And when I understand both ajñānam and sankalpa are mithya, and the Brahman is vivarta upādāna karanam. So that means what happens here? Now as I go through vicāras, especially third vicāras. So what are the third vicāras? Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakṣyate, vinasyati iti third vicāravat etat stula sariram. Tattvabodha, okay? So this third vicāra, 6 modification that I go through. That's why I am subject to change. So today I am young, tomorrow I am old. Today I am good, tomorrow I am bad. I am unpredictable, both physically and also mentally. That's why here he says very nicely that this vicaram to be done, this is how the analysis to be done, that I am someone avyayam, not subject to go through any change. How? He says, look, because this is sajatiya vijatiya, okay, let me not get into veda shunyamit technically, this is another word terminology. So I think we'll see this one some other time, okay? It's not at this moment. So best example I can say here, sūkṣmaṁ why? Because it is mana, bak adi, indriya agocharam iti. That is safest translation or explanation. Because problem is if I use any word, then I have to explain that word. So that will take another concept. So what is this sajatiya, vijatiya, veda sunyam, how it happens? Of course we will be seeing. Now he says, look how it is. Let us look at the next verse so that it becomes easier. Aham eko'pi sūkṣmaś
aham eko'pi sūkṣmaś
jñātā sākṣī avyayam
jñātā sākṣī avyayah
tadaham nātra sandeho
tadaham nātra sandeho
vicāra īdṛśaḥ.
vicāra īdṛśaḥ.
With this verse, this vicāra concept is completed, which started from verse number 14. So 14 to 16, that ayam saha ayam īdṛśaḥ vicāra iti. And here in this verse he says, aham eko'pi sūkṣmaś and jñātā sākṣī sat avyayaḥ. So here he says, who is that me? Here he says, aham eko'pi means ātma ekah ityartha. So that means there is, in reality, there is no difference between the Brahman, earlier we were talking about upādāna karanam, and here aham, me. So jiva brahmanyo bhedam naiti. So that means very clear that if there is no difference between me and the Brahman, that means if Brahman was sūkṣmaṁ, indriyādi agocharam, mano bhagādi agocharam. Now I am also agocharam. I am also not available for the perceptions. I cannot perceive myself. Forget about that. Can I perceive my face? Unless I take the help of, nowadays mobile. Nowadays nobody takes the help of what you call a mirror, okay? So they take a mobile video. Oh, okay. So that means I cannot see my face. So here he says that I am not available for any perceptions that we have discussed in details earlier. And interestingly, he says, look, I am sūkṣmaṁ. Means sajātiya vijātiya bheda sunya. And apart from that, he highlights this word, jñātā sākṣī sat avyayaḥ iti. But this jñātā sākṣī, this is the new word. Other one was there. We have seen it already. So when he says jñātā and sākṣī, what does you mean by this jñātā and sākṣī? Already we have written, refer to old posts. There are two types of knower. Jñātā means knower. So one is the mind, the jivatma, the individual knows. So how does it know? Because of a reflecting medium. And in that knowledge, you need object of knowledge. You need pramana, means of knowledge, and also the knower has to be there. With the help of three, there is a process of knowledge. And where the knowledge takes place, that fellow or that location is called actually knower. That's why mind is a knower. So this is one type of jñātā. Other type of jñātā is called the knower. Technically we call that as sākṣī. So sākṣī, when we say sakshat ikshate iti sākṣī. So that means how this is sākṣī, that which is light of everything, means in whose presence everything is being known and without going through any change. Very nicely we have in Indian judiciary system, all over the world, called witness. They call sākṣī. Bring your sākṣī. It's a nice word in Indian languages. So there's who is your sākṣī? So they mean this sākṣī, okay? So who is the sākṣī supposed to? Who is supposed to witness? Witness is not supposed to support anything. Without being affected, without getting connected, who is supposed to present the situation as it is in colloquial languages or in legal languages called sākṣī. But nowadays what sākṣī they do it, witness they do it, don't ask me, okay? That's another level. So I witnessed, and what you witnessed, don't ask. However, so here is being said, sākṣī, aham sākṣī iti, ātma sākṣī iti. That means in whose presence the knowledge takes place, the consciousness principle. And what is happening here is, this is to be understood. In reality, I am sākṣī. But always I consider I am jñātā in lower level. I am a knower. So when I am a knower, now there is a competition. Now because I know, I don't know how to know, and whatever I know, I need to have it. Then this makes the desire, then sankalpa leads to karma. Then once you do karma phala comes. So that's why here he uses this word, aham eko'pi, aham sūkṣmaṁ iti. aham jñātā, aham sākṣī, aham sat, aham avyayaḥ iti. But unfortunately, instead of me looking at as jñātā, the knower, in whose presence all knowledge takes place, just its mere presence, but I consider as ordinary jñātā. That's why I want to own up anything and everything. If nothing I am able to own up, I try to own up the knowledge. India was a country where there was nothing called copyright. We are copyright free knowledge. We say sarvam vyasochistham iti. So everything is leftover of Vyasacharya. Anything you see. That's why there was no copyright concept in earlier days. But unfortunately, the so-called intellectual thieves, they are called educated. The thieves are called educated people. So they steal the intellectual property. Now that's why what happens everywhere, you have to make copyright. You have to fight. I remember with this, I'll stop it. To be very honest, we never knew this copyright concept, okay? This patent copyright concept, this, that. I'm talking about 20, 30 years old news, okay? In America, somebody took the copyright of turmeric. So in India, those days, they did not know what is all about it, okay? That fellow took turmeric for something. And the news was very nicely, all the mammies started saying, hey, we cannot say turmeric to turmeric. If we say we have to pay the, royalty to that person, okay? Now let us change the name turmeric some other way, okay? So in short, that how this knowledge continues because I am jñātā. The jñātā means here the knower. In my presence, just my mere presence, all the knowledge takes place. Not that I know I am a knower. I am not a sniffer dog, okay? Everywhere I poke my nose to know anything and everything. So that knower we are not talking at all. And with this, he says, look, this is how the vicāram to be done. And once you start doing vicāram, from next verse onwards we'll see about ignorance. So he is going to say how this ignorance prevails, and he is trying to present in a unique way, we will say. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.